All right, we are live, and I have Rebel here, and I don't know how he's going to behave because right now he seems like he needs attention or something in ways in which he's usually sleeping during this time of day. Welcome, I'm Jeannie Andreessen. Today we are talking about asking for your client's budget, 5 mistakes you're making, how to avoid them, and how to get your client's budget up front so that you can do what you do best, and that is design and design effectively. So if you're new to me, I am a business coach for interior designers, and I help interior designers reclaim their time, increase their earnings, and enjoy running their design business again. So again, today we're talking about how to get your client's budget. That is what we are talking about. And we're going to actually walk through kind of the few things that I see designers do wrong in this process. So what I would love from you, for anybody who's joining me live, have you struggled? Let's kick this off with drop a 1 in the chat if you have struggled to get your clients to be forthcoming about a budget. So drop a 1 in the chat if that is something that you struggle with. So we're going to talk through this today. Here's why I'm passionate about this, because not having a budget early on is actually a large waste of time. And I hate to be so, definitive about that. But chances are, if you don't have this budget up front, what are the odds that this person, this prospect that's in front of you, has the resources to spend in a way that fits how you are able to help them? What are the odds of that? I hope that they're high. I will tell you right now. I mean, there are some designers who are pretty established in a luxury market, and they will have prospects that come their way that there really isn't a budget. And that's okay. If that's you, then maybe this isn't relevant. But for most designers, that's not the case. Most interior designers, especially ones that are in their, let's say, years 2 through 10 of their design business, have clients who have some sort of financial restrictions. And you can call a budget whatever you want to call it, but it really is a financial restriction in a way. And so if that is you, then we do need to get a sense for what our client's budget is upfront so that you know that you are able to provide what you do best in a way that allows them to be able to be the receiver of it. So kind of taking a step back, I really want to talk about efficiency here, because this is a big frustration I have when I'm working with my designers, and I have a new client that comes my way, and they tell me that a lot of times their frustration comes by going through the entire client onboarding process. They get to the step where maybe they're sending a proposal over. They send this proposal and clients do not respond to it. So they all of a sudden are ghosted by these prospective clients, or a client responds, prospective client. When I say prospect, I mean prospective client. Or a prospect responds that this is really over and beyond what they were planning on spending. And so when that happens, it's a major frustration of my clients, because how many minutes, hours, days have you already spent with this person? Usually by the time that's taking place, there has been a discovery call, a consultation, and a proposal that has been created. So just right there, let's say you spend an hour creating a proposal. I mean, I know designers who spend a lot more time than that. So let's just say minimally you're spending an hour on it. Let's say minimally you're spending an hour at a client's home. You were spending 30 minutes to get there, 30 minutes to come back. So actually there's 2 hours right there. 3 hours if you include this proposal, 3.5 if you include a discovery call. And so you've spent that much time with somebody to then have somebody ghost you or say to you that this is actually not in their budget at all. And I know how you're feeling, because you're probably saying well, I did ask you for your budget up front and you said that you don't know. So I want you to get those 3.5 hours back. That's what we're doing today. That's what I want to help you recognize today is I want you to get those 3.5 hours back. And again, that's like minimally 3.5 hours that you're spending on this already. So I want you to get those 3.5 hours back. And so what I'm going to do today from today's live is we're going to get you those 3.5 hours back just by walking you through some of these mistakes that you're making and how you can make sure that you avoid them. So let's talk about the conversation that gets there. You ask a client in the discovery call, hey, do you have a budget in mind for this project? And what do your clients say back? I would actually drop in the chat. What do your clients usually say back when you ask for, hey, do you have a budget in mind for this project? Or what is the budget that you have for this project? I want you to tell me what your clients are saying back. So please drop it in the chat. Because I hear a lot of, there's kind of a lot of things that they'll say, but I hear one over and over and over again. I will tell you the one I hear over and over and over again. So here we go. We have 3D design says, I'm not sure. That's what a client will say back to you. I'm not sure. What else? We're not typically sure of how much these things cost. Exactly. That is so commonly what they'll say back. I have no idea. I don't know how much things cost. I just don't know. And what happens next usually is a designer accepts that and says, okay, yeah, that's fair enough. How about I come to your home and I'll take a look, and then from there I'll create a proposal, and then that'll give you a sense for how much things cost. So right then and there, you are offering more of your time and energy and all of that before obtaining a client's budget. And let me go back to this, let me get you those 3.5 hours back. There will be clients. There will be prospects. I'd like to catch myself there. There will be prospective clients that come your way who make sense to spend time and energy with, and you don't know if they are going to hire you or not. And I'm not here to say, don't go spend your time with those people. The biggest difference between that and kind of what you're currently doing is I want you to be spending time with the people who do have the resources to invest in the work that you do. So I'm not saying, hey, every single person that comes your way must be a home run. But I am saying if you're going to go out on a client consult, if you're going to create a proposal, if you're going to do any of those steps, we want to make sure that this person is qualified to work with you. That is the difference between a qualified prospect and a non-qualified prospect. I teach this in business school for designers. A qualified prospect is someone that's qualified to work with you. They have the means to invest in the work that you do. Getting a budget from the beginning is one of the ways that you qualify a client or a prospective client. So, okay, my goal is that you only spend time with qualified people, qualified prospects, and that anybody who's not qualified to work with you, you're getting those 3.5 hours or more back, so that you can go out there and spend more time on the people that have already hired you, that have the means to invest in working with you, or you can go out there and find more people who are qualified to work with you. Make sense? I hope this makes sense. Perfect. So let's talk about the 5 mistakes you're currently making and how to fix them. Mistake number 1, it's okay if this is you, but this one I had 4, and then I was like, oh no, if someone's not doing this, that's a major mistake. So mistake number 1 is you are not asking for the budget. That's mistake number 1. If you are not asking for the budget because you are too afraid to ask for a budget, that is on you, and it is only on you. And you are a business owner and an interior designer, and you are an expert, and you need to get over that and start getting comfortable asking people what their budget is. I hear over and over and over again when it comes to this specific person, this designer who doesn't ask for a budget, is that they're afraid that asking for a budget is going to be an offensive question. And when we think that asking for a budget is an offensive question, of course you're going to avoid it. Who wants to offend people? No one wants to offend people. But it's not an offensive question. It is an effective question. It's like walking into a car dealership. I mean, it's walking into any sort of store. How much do you want to spend? That is an effective question. Not asking that question is just confusing for everybody. How are you able to be able to give somebody what they want if they're not even telling you the parameters of what they are looking for and what they have to spend? So mistake number one is that you're not asking for it. It is not your client's responsibility. I mean, I do think in a way, like both of you should be bringing to the table, budget in this budget conversation, but it really isn't. You are the leader of this. You are the leader of your business. You are the expert in what you're doing. You need to lead, and you lead by asking these questions. So if you are not asking for it, that is on you. You cannot expect for your clients, and it really isn't their responsibility to be saying to you what their budget is. It is for you to ask that question and get them to say it. Okay? You are the leader of this entire process, because you saying that you're expecting them to just bring it up or mention it to you. And sure, I'm not saying they're not going to bring it up. Any semi-qualified person will probably say to you at some point, like, how much money is this going to cost me? And at the same time, there are many people out there who are just following your lead and are not as assertive in that way and are going to hold off until, let's say, the end of the onboarding process to say anything like that. Benham says, most clients don't know what a reasonable budget is. The designer shouldn't ask what the budget is. They should guide them. Totally. That is where we're going with this. I cannot agree more with that. So mistake you're making number one is that you're not asking for it. You're expecting them to bring it up. That is not on them. That is on you. And here's the thing, 9 out of 10 times, they're going to bring that up at a time that is like you've already expended so much time and energy. They might bring it up, like I said, 3, 4, 5 steps into the client onboarding process after you've already onboarded them and have promised them that you're going to get them the result that they want. And then the budget conversation's taking place. That is on you. So mistake number one is that you're not asking for it. You have to be the one to ask. You are in charge here. You cannot avoid this question and then be mad that your clients have too much control in your design business. Like your clients have too much control of your business because you're letting them have it. And this is one example of that. So you have to ask this question. What is your budget? Now, mistake you're making number two is you are asking for it, but you're not asking for it up front. You're waiting until the client consult. That's a no-no. Like, no. So you're waiting until the client consult, or you are waiting, kind of going back to like you're not asking for it, until you're putting together a proposal and you find out that it is not in budget for them, whatever you've put together and proposed to them. If you are waiting until the client consult to ask about budget, you are, again, throwing time away, and you've already started to build a relationship with this person, which makes it much more challenging if they were to give you an answer that isn't in alignment with how much things cost and how much things cost to work with you. I hope that makes sense to you. Every minute you're talking to somebody, every new touch point you have with a prospective client you are further and further building a relationship with somebody. That works in your favor when it's a qualified prospect that's in front of you. If you don't know whether someone is a qualified prospect and you're going out on their client consult, you have now begun to build a relationship with somebody because there's hopefully been multiple touch points up until that point. And when you're asking for it then and there, that is when it becomes a little bit more personal. I mean, imagine asking for it, and I feel like by that time you're not really assertively asking for it. You're like, oh, kind of what budget do you have in mind? Because here you are in person with them, and they just discuss their hopes, dreams, you see their home. And so at that point, imagine asking that question and someone tells you something that's not the answer that you want to hear, right? It becomes a lot more challenging to manage then. So the time to ask for it is not when you're in person with them in the consult. It is also the first time you talk about budget is also, in my opinion, in my process that I teach in my VIP days, in my process that I teach in business school. It is also not the first time that you're talking about budget is not in the discovery call either. Budget, my main tip here, budget should be discussed in the intake form. I'm gonna take a sip of water. I believe that the budget should be discussed first in the intake form. And you're gonna say to me, Jeannie, like, what do you, either one of two things. I don't believe in intake forms. There are quite a few designers who don't believe in a solid intake form. But then the other side of that is, okay, if you're asking me to put this in the intake form and I'm asking for a client's budget, they're not gonna know. I hear you in that, but it's how you ask for it in the intake form will allow a client to start getting a sense for how much things cost. So here is one question that I recommend adding to your intake form. And you can download all of my questions, all of my intake form questions. You can download them. I think at the link in my bio, I have a link to my shop, but if you go to my website, you can go to my business shop and I have just a handful of templates on there. But one of them are my top 18 intake form questions. So you can grab that from there. And actually it's currently on sale. I currently have it on sale for 25% off. Because I was doing this live, I knew I was gonna be mentioning it. And I'm like, I want everyone to have everything. So head to the link in my bio, you can snag my top 18 intake form questions. But this question to me is clutch. It is the question, it's something along the lines of, you're gonna have to download the form, like, how much do you plan to spend on this, with all things considered? Or you could choose one or the other, like everything considered or just for the project scope. But here's what this is gonna look like. It's a drop down, and that drop down has different examples of budgets and what that budget could buy them. Focus this based on your most ideal clients or your most common client, but the lowest budget you would work with. And this does have to do with having client minimums in place and all of that too. But let's say one room, $25,000 is kind of your minimum budget. That is what you would want to put in there. One room, $25,000, and you would say what that room is. This will get you, a furnished basement. This will get you a living room. This will get you, a dining room. But tell them what that dollar amount buys them. So let's say it's $25K to $50K, put in parentheses some examples. $50K to $100K, put in parentheses some examples. The last one on there, the last thing I want you to have on there is the last option. So go up until it makes sense. I say put about 5 options on there that they can choose from. But the last option is, I don't know, give me guidance. 9 out of 10 of your clients are going to check, I don't know, give me guidance. And that is a positive thing because they just put you in the driver's seat to tell them how much this is going to cost them. Going back just to what Benham Design said, the designer shouldn't ask what the budget is, they should guide them. I think the designer should ask what the budget is and put themselves in a position to be the guide from the permission of their clients. If a client says, I don't know, give me guidance, and they submit this intake form, guess what just happened? They saw how much things cost. They weren't afraid of it, and they were looking for you. They're now putting you in the position to be able to tell them. That is a beautiful, beautiful thing. Mistake number 3. So that's how you ask for it up front. Then guess what happens? You hop on a phone call, on the discovery call. You're going to say, oh, I saw that you put, I don't know, give me guidance. And they're going to say, yeah, I don't know how much things cost. And you're going to say, wonderful. Based on what you shared with me, here is what I think this is going to run you. Mistake number 3 you're making is you're expecting them to just know. They do not know. They do not know. If I were to go and want to get a custom built car, I mean, how much does that cost? I have no idea, but I can tell them the kind of car. I could tell this person who builds custom cars, the kind of car that I'm looking for, what's important to me, what I value, how long I want this car to last, and all of those things. First, I expected them to ask me to help me identify what my budget is. That's not on me. That's on them to ask me those questions. How the hell would I know? I just know what I want. I want a great car. I want a great custom car. Is that a thing? Do people make custom cars? I have no freaking clue. I was just trying to think of an example of something that's also very expensive. That's probably what it would be. So it's their responsibility to ask me those questions, get out of me what my budget is, but be able to regurgitate back to me about the dollar amount that would put me at. And it's their responsibility to do that early on so that we're not 6 steps into the process and I find out that I can't afford it. Make sense? They do not know. They need your help to guide them. What they do know is what they like, what they want done. They have an idea of what their finances are. They know what they value. They know how much they're going to be using this area or how important it is to them. Those are things they know. And those are questions you need to ask to be able to start getting a sense of how much you believe that this will run them. Like, these are all almost the same bullet points over and over again. Number 4 mistake. You're accepting I don't know is an appropriate answer. It's not. Okay? It's not. Them say it is and it's not. When you say how much, what's your budget, and they say I don't know, and you're saying great, I'll meet you at your place on Tuesday at 3 p.m. Like, no. I don't know is a totally appropriate answer initially. And from that, it's on you to identify those things, those characteristics that I just walked you through, to be able to give them something. I mean, I've heard designers I just think it's a bad joke, honestly. So if this is you, I'm sorry, but I've heard if someone says that they don't know, then you say, great, I'll design you a $10 million home. And it's like, haha, I don't know. Like, then they really wake up and say, okay, I'm obviously not going to spend 10 million. Here's why I don't like that, is because I'm like, that's such a childish way that still doesn't narrow down kind of around the price point that is more realistic. And so I think instead of going that route of great, I'll design, a $10 million home for you, I just think a better route to go down is, okay, that makes a lot of sense and is totally fair. Let me ask you a few more questions and I will give you a sense of how much to have minimally in place. You won't know that it's going to end up at 125K or 150K, but it's going to be at least 100 to 125K. And that is on you to be able to identify and be able to give them and hear how they respond to it. Are they gawking at that? Are they shocked by that? Or do they say, okay, that's fair. That's around what I was thinking. If that is the case, now here you go. They don't have to say yes, it's exactly it. I have that exact dollar amount and perfect. I'm going to hold you to that. And they don't have to give you all of that. But you want to hear on the other end of the phone, assuming this is a discovery call, because that's what I recommend, that they are not blown away by that number and they can say back to you, okay, that is about, that's fair. That's about what I'm thinking. We totally could do that. All you need is enough of a green light to know that what they want, they have the finances for, like, minimally. But again, that's on you to not be giving them a dollar amount that is not accurate, is what I would say. No people pleasing when it comes to the budget. That's just cannot be. You cannot people please around a budget. You have to be honest, transparent, and genuine. Otherwise, you're just going to piss a lot of people off. All right. Mistake number 5. Let's go through these. So mistake number 1 is you're not asking for it. Mistake number 2 is you're asking for it, but you're not asking for it up front. Mistake number 3 is you're expecting them to just know. They don't. Mistake number 4 is you're accepting I don't know as like the only answer, and that is just not acceptable, where our goal is to get them to a place of, okay, you're saying to them, here's how much I think that this will be minimally, and you're listening for, is this something that's shocking to them or is it something that's doable? And number 5 mistake you're making when it comes to the budget is you're afraid to actually tell them. If you are somebody who really gets anxiety talking about these big numbers, you've got to work through that. That is coaching. That is, I don't even want to say like that's therapy. You'll know if you need therapy versus coaching, but you have to get over that. If you want to keep running your business the way that you're running it, if you want to keep just playing a back seat to your business, if you want to keep letting your clients run your business more than you, rather than you running it, and rather than you having confidence to have these tough conversations, then go for it. But as a business owner, as an interior designer, as somebody who is involved in this industry and who is in charge of the dollar amount that they make and who is in charge of being able to have these tough conversations, you have to be able to confidently declare certain numbers. And these numbers, again, I think sometimes designers get afraid of putting a number out there that they're going to be then held to. That is on you to be able to communicate that this is a range, this is a minimum. Minimally will be in about the 125 to 150K range. But being able to confidently say those numbers is a part of the role that you are playing as a successful interior designer who is a business owner and who is able to confidently onboard and work with their clients. If you are afraid to tell them because you're afraid to talk about large numbers, you're afraid of, let's say, offending people, or you just aren't confident in asking somebody to make these kinds of investments, that is something I want you to notice, because that means then that's something to work on. You have to confidently be able to have these conversations so that your client can trust you and trust that you are making decisions that are in their best interest, that you are able to manage funds effectively. Like, all of that stuff really matters. And if you're sweating profusely telling somebody that something's going to cost $150K because you're afraid of what they're going to say back to that, or you're afraid that they can't afford that, that's something to work through. But really, when it comes to getting a client's budget, all of these things I just mentioned are on you, because you are the leader and you are the guide. You are the leader. You are the guide. You are the expert. What questions do you have? I'm like, where are we at? We have a couple people still live with me right now. Was this helpful? Let me know. Please like this video if it was helpful. Please share it with a friend if this was helpful. Here are a couple things you are looking for some next steps. If this, I mean, I'm sure you took like a page of notes on this one, but if you're looking for some next steps, here are a couple things. You can download the intake form in my shop, just as I mentioned to you. You can get 18, all 18 questions. I'm having it on sale in my shop just for this next week. So I'm like, I don't know, probably till maybe Monday, let's say, of next week. But just for this next week. But if you are wanting these 18 questions for your intake form, snag it at the link in my bio. You can grab it. Go to jeannieandreessen.com. I want to say /business shop, maybe just shop, but you can find it on my website. The other option is if you are looking to onboard your clients more confidently, have these conversations more confidently, manage expectations effectively, being able to obtain their budget upfront, confidently, effectively, being able to be the leader of your projects. I am currently taking on 2 more VIP days between now and the end of the year. Notes taken, so awesome. Between now and the end of the year, I'm going to take on 2 more VIP days. In VIP day, you're going to learn simple, effective strategies to get clients' agreements on boundaries, on budget, being able to manage their expectations, timeline expectations, budget expectations, project expectations, and to really be more efficient in your overall design process by being able to have these kinds of conversations up front and again, onboard people really effectively. If that's something that you're interested in, either comment VIP or DM me VIP and we can get to chatting. But I'm obsessed with my VIP days. I honestly think that they are like I think they're significantly underpriced right now, because that is how much value you get in return for them. That is something that I believe. I feel good still about offering it, but every single time that I offer it, I'm like, oh my God, this designer's getting so much value. And I love it. It is so exciting for me. So I'm just taking on 2 more between now and the end of the year. You let me know if you want one. And I hope that this was helpful. Like I said, please like this video. Please share it with a friend. Let me know what you took away. And let me know what you want me to go live on next week. If you have any other ideas for me to go live, if you have anything else you're struggling with in your business, you let me know. Thanks for hanging with me. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. And take care, friends. Bye.